For number 5, we're going to find the first derivative again, and here we have two different terms. So we have the first term and the second term, and we're going to take the derivative of each term separately. So let's look at the first term. And within the first term, we have two functions of x multiplied together. So we're going to use the product rule for the first term. So that would be the first, as is, times the derivative of the second. And the derivative of e to the x is e to the x, plus the second, as is, which is e to the x, times the derivative of the first. So the derivative of x squared would be 2x. Alright, now the second term, the derivative of e to the x, of course, is just e to the x. So that one is pretty simple. Alright, now we're going to simplify. Okay, so the first term is x squared times e to the x. The second term, I'm going to go ahead and bring out the 2x to the front. So that's 2x times e to the x power plus e to the x. So we can choose to leave it like this, or you could also simplify, if you wanted to, by factoring out a common factor of e to the x from each term. And that would leave you with x squared from the first term, plus 2x from the second term, and then of course a plus 1 from the last term. So either way that we wrote it, both of those are perfectly acceptable solutions. Okay, remember that you could check it by multiplying e to the x back in, and if you factored it out correctly, then you should get the three terms that you started with. Keep in mind that on the exam, the level of simplification, of course, is up to you. For number 6, we're going to use our rule for logs. Remember that the derivative of ln, so we take the derivative of the ln function, that's going to be 1 over the input times the derivative of the input. So the input for our function is e to the x squared power plus 1. So let's use our rule. That would be 1 over, so the input is e to the x squared power plus 1 times the derivative of the input. So we're going to take the derivative of e to the x squared power. So that would be e to the x squared power times the derivative of the exponent. So the derivative of x squared would be 2x. Okay, the derivative of the second term, plus 1, of course, is just 0, so that is it. So when we think about this as over 1, we can multiply across the top if we wish to simplify further. And I'm going to rewrite this as 2x times e to the x squared power. All of that we're going to multiply across the bottom. Pretty simple. E to the x squared power plus 1 times 1, of course, is just itself. We're going to stop right there.